Welcome to the Stack Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
We're back with another Stack Podcast interview. This time we have Mark Harrison on from CNP, which is one of the longest, as far as I know, one of the longest running supplement companies out of the UK, extremely well established. And yes, we have Mark here to talk about everything that's happened, going on, coming soon. Welcome to the show.
Cheers, Shane. Good to hear from you again. Bit of a weird year and a half in this industry at the minute, especially in the UK. So it's been a bit of an odd one, but we're coping okay, which is good. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
So CNP, like I was telling you this before, CNP really. I mean, I had been following you guys for a little bit. I mean, I knew of the brand mostly because of the name and the branding, because I had actually seen it. I swear I'd seen it internationally before, just the way outside of the UK. And I had been following you for a little bit. Some of what you did in 2019, I quite liked. It was like that tri-series pre-workout. We had it was expansion, ignition, and cognition, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was and I think that was kind of the things that put me up on the radar, because it's as you say, as I said, CNP has been around for 22 years now, so it's definitely in that realm of a veteran legacy brand, which is not something you commonly see outside of the US. A lot of the well-known, well-established brands are American,
it's got quite a lot of history behind it. It's a bit of an old man of the UK supplement industry.
Yeah. So
like it started off you've seen there's another brand that's launched recently called Chemical Warfare. Like that's actually the original name of CNP.
Oh, really?
CNP was founded as Chemical Warfare by Kerry Kayes back in the 90s. It was kind of like a bit of a fun project at the time. Like they had all sorts of strange products. So like there was an all-in-one called Die Hard with a Vengeance, and it had a picture of Bruce Willis on the front of it. Like it was that level of crazy. And they had a product called The Thing, which was in a glorified paint pot. That was the packaging. And there was loads of products like that, which were just started as we want to start a cool supplement brand in the 90s. So that's kind of how it started. And obviously Kerry, being the guy that he is in the industry, kind of world-renowned guy, obviously brought lots of people together under that brand. Some of the products in that, so The Thing, which sounds ridiculous, actually still exists in the range. It's the CNP dessert.
Oh wow!
And there was a product called Dog Food, which
I'm assuming it wasn't for dogs.
No, it's actually CNP Fuel. It's the maltodextrin product that we have. So it's weird how stuff's kind of carried through from there and kind of stayed.
Just a lot more professional names, I guess.
Well, that's exactly it. So ultimately, Chemical Warfare actually started to take off, and Kerry thought, actually, this probably isn't the right name for a supplement company. People don't know what it is. So it changed to Chemical Nutrition Products. And then kind of took another ramp up, and then thought, actually, people don't like putting chemicals in them. Maybe we shouldn't call it Chemical Nutrition Products. So that got abbreviated to CNP. And that's when Dorian Yates got involved with Kerry. So it was CNP Dorian Yates approved for a long time.
Oh, wow.
And that's when Kerry was working with everyone who's anyone at the Olympia at that time, like on stage with Arnie and all sorts. He was the man from the UK at that point, which was that kind of shows the level of history in the brand. And then obviously Dorian went his own way. He's got his own brand now. So it just became CNP. It's kind of gone from there really. Kerry sold the business a fair few years ago now. And it got taken on by another company who, I mean, I won't go into too much negative, but the brand lost its way for a period of time. We'll say that under that leadership, and more recently, in the last 4 years, is when we took ownership of it as protein partners, and basically started taking the brand back to its roots from what was built by Kerry as a foundation, and kind of adding a more up-to-date kind of twist on the products. So bringing all the formulas up to date, bringing up the flavor profiles, and getting the look and feel of the brand and the tone of voice back up to kind of what a 2021, as we are now, brand should look and feel like.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because like I was saying, it was in 2019 when you did that tri-series, and I felt like that was one of the most modern things I had seen from CNP since I could ever remember it. And you had I think it was the Pro EAA, and EAAs weren't exactly I mean, it was BCAs were all the rage prior to that. And so I thought it was interesting that you guys jumped on these things quite quickly.
Yeah. I mean,
and I guess that was pretty much what you were saying right there, was that you came in, you gave it that modern twist that was needed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have our own factory, so all our powder products are made in-house. So everyone from product development, the technical guys in the lab, all the way through to the sales and marketing, we're all under one roof. So it allows us to kind of look into trends and act on them pretty quickly. So like, we were the first brand to bring across a lot of the branded ingredients that are kind of just taken for granted in the industry in the UK now. So
yeah,
obviously Matt will know, over at Vaso 6, like we were the guys to bring that over to the UK for the first time, and obviously you see that everywhere now.
Yeah.
Stuff like the dynamine and bits and pieces. We've often been able to act quite quickly and get these ingredients across the pond, as they'd say, as quickly as we can, which is why you've obviously seen the UK go into a big surge in supplements now, and seeing the level of work across all the brands in the UK kind of go up. I mean, I know we're talking specifically about CNP, but I think the UK supplement industry as a whole has really ramped their game up from kind of end of 2019 to now. There's just been a big shift.
I would say that over the past few years, it was, I mean, the American market has always very much been the more hardcore. Like, they've been able to put in the ingredients pretty quickly. If something new comes up, they literally jump on it straight away. If some supplement is doing well with it, it doesn't take long before you start seeing others using it. I think DMAA, DMHA, amp citrate, all those exotic stims over the years proved to be the case. Brands just able to move on them pretty quickly. But I will say the UK and Europe has emerged quite a bit over the past few years in terms of pre-workouts, aminos, protein powders, and the flavor side, I think, is catching up.
I mean, there's
just
that was kind of one of the focuses from last year. One of the focuses last year was to bring the CNP range up to kind of the forefront with flavors. Obviously, having the facility here allows us to play around quite a lot with that. So we relaunched our amino products. So CNP loaded EAAs got launched, and we decided to go a bit kind of down the sweet shop element with that. So we got like grape gazillions and what else do we do? Cherry cola bottles, like proper sweet shop flavors, and they went down really, really well. Something a bit different, something that people actually look forward to taking when they're training, rather than just the lemon and lime, fruit punch, orange mango that were kind of like the go-to flavors for years and years. And we've found the traction on them has been really good, and kind of brought more attention to the brand, and pushed that onto other products like ProPeptide, ProMR, which are kind of like more the foundation legacy products that we will always have in there.
Yeah, I've said to a lot of brands about I said this to a lot of brands years ago, back when only a handful of brands were doing the fun flavors, where you got things like Black Magic and products and names that just didn't make sense. But they they were intriguing. And I said this to a lot of people. I said, well, everyone's doing fruit punch and blue raspberry. I mean, these odd flavors and experiences, they bring you in, they intrigue you, and they work incredibly well when, you know, brands that are coming out with new pre-workouts like every month. Customers and fans of your brand have a hard time not being enticed into trying something else. You've got all these things coming out, and if you give them another flavor, that's another thing that would keep them interested, keep them excited. I've said that, and I think it's now proven to be the way to go, because I would say it's about, you still get a lot of brands doing the traditionals, the fruit punch, the blue raspberry, but they're not without that odd one. I like how most brands include at least one or even half. They'll do the traditional and then they'll throw in a candy or a rainbow or a unicorn piss. I've seen it's they get
yeah, Rick at Strom, yeah, he loves his unicorn. Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of dependent on category a bit, we find. So customers generally do like to flip between brands and are more just looking at it on a product basis rather than the brand basis with pre-workouts, because you use a pre-workout, you want to try something different. There's a lot more hype around different ingredients, different effects, different flavors on pre-workouts, whereas proteins, we find people are a bit more kind of brand loyal with the protein. So we've got people who've bought ProPeptide from us since day dot and have never not bought it. And same with our MR product, the meal replacement. And yeah, there's a hell of a lot of loyalty in protein powders, because ultimately it's, for some people it is a bit of a spend every month to get your big 2 kilo tub of high quality protein, and you don't want to take a punt on something that you might buy it, take one scoop and think, what the hell is that? No, thank you. And then you've spent your money for the month on that and have to go and get something else. Whereas pre-workouts, generally, you know, they're going to taste pretty good. And if they don't, at least you're going to get a decent effect off them, because ultimately from product development side of things, the harder formulas are harder to make taste good, but you're getting a good formula. Whereas if a brand makes a cheap formula and kind of a basic formula and they can't make that taste good, then something's gone wrong. So
it's funny that you touch on the protein powder thing, because that's actually the reason why we started the Protein Wars like 10 years, not 10. Actually, I think it's close. It might be 8-9 years ago now, because when we did all these top categories, we would try our favorite pre-workouts and we made a list of our 5 favorites. We tried all our favorite focus formulas, fat burners, and then we also had a protein powder one. And I remember when we bought out our list of favorite protein powders, everyone, this was back, I guess, when beef protein was still kind of new and kind of on the rise. And I just noticed like right away that people just came out like, that's ridiculous. Whey isolate only formulas are the best. And someone would say, oh, you serious? Beef protein is like Muscle Med's Carnivore was quite popular then. And they would say, carnivore. And someone would say, no, blends give you the best of all the work. And then I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Like, and people were just throwing out like brands, and some were arguing about formulas that were very much the same in terms of style, isolates and blends. And I was just like, well, shit, we got to take down our list, and we got to figure out a way to see what people want, because it was at a time where I shared pre-workout, shared fat burners, and this was the only one where people just lost their shit. And I was like, okay, so and to your point, it's exactly what you're saying. People are just loyal, no matter what they did to find that protein powder that they love. They just glued to it, and it's incredibly hard to pull them away from it, and they believe in it. And that's why the Protein Wars came out, because we wanted to say, hey, our list is not right, tell us which one is. So we got people voting.
Yeah, exactly.
And even though there are still arguments with it, it's a lot less than it was originally.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've always been a bit careful with our proteins, because there's kind of an expectation for CNP.
Well, you've been around for so long, I imagine like people will just lose their shit if you ruin something they've loved for that long.
Yeah, I mean, it's like peptide, for instance, and recover. They're the two that if something slightly changes, we do get a lot of people get in touch to say, what's happened here, guys? Like it's slightly different. And it's like, well, actually we've just got a different supplier of one of the raw ingredients, and it's just the texture's slightly changed or something like that. But everyone is very sensitive to it's been like this for so long, and if a slight change happens, they're on it, which is good, because I guess that means our customers are informed. And then generally when we give them the answer as to what's going on, whether it's something developed within the formulation or whether it's a supply element, they're very, very open to hearing what we've done. So like peptide, for instance, that was developed actually with a guy a bit closer to you, Shane, who was from the Dairy Board of New Zealand, and worked with Kerry back in the day to basically make a protein powder that was as close to mother's milk as possible. Yeah, so like really easy on the gut. So that's why it uses native whey and native whey isolate in it, because of the whole kind of growth factor elements that are reported to be better within it, because they don't get denatured by the high temperatures, because obviously native whey, as you'll know, isn't a product of cheese. It's low temperature processed from milk and all this. So that's kind of what peptide was born out of, with the added probiotics and digestive enzymes. So that's kind of what we've tried to build into a lot of the proteins. So all of our wheys, for instance, all have the probiotics and the digestive enzymes in to help people who are taking probably more protein than what their body potentially needs, because they're trying to grow. Your guts need a bit of help sometimes to get that down and make use of it. So we've always been mindful of kind of giving a little bit of added value to the proteins, rather than just saying there's a bag of protein with chocolate flavoring in it, off you go, guys, and have it for a quid cheaper because it's not got anything extra in it. We're trying to keep that kind of legacy element alive in the brand as a background, but at the same time we still want to be bringing out cool new flavors, like what we've got. Cereal milk was one we did, and annoyingly one of the best flavors we have, which I love, just doesn't move like it should do. Again, should probably go into negatives, but our chai flavored protein is unbelievable.
I can understand that one.
But people don't click it on a drop down menu on a website if it says chocolate, strawberry, salted caramel, chai. You're never gonna click on the chai.
No, I can understand that. See, I am as much as I like the exotics, like I'll do a fruity cereal if I'm in a different country, or if I'm looking to stock up, if I'm looking to get a buttload of protein and I'm gonna pay for it. I mean, I'm not risking it, man. I'm going chocolate. I'm going. I've had. I know that my wife, she was just like, oh my god, this brand does green tea protein. She's like, I bet that sounds interesting. And I was like, you know what? I know she likes the idea. I guarantee you, she's not going to drink 5 pounds of protein powder like that. No one. It's such a big investment. And if you don't like it, what are you going to do? You're not going to throw it away. You just spent a boatload of money on a 5 pounder.
That's what I mean. Taking it back to that whole loyalty on protein powders. That's exactly it. That's exactly why it is the way
they're fun. With I get it. They're fun, but I would never commit to anything bigger than a 2 pound. I think that seems to be the trending size right now. A lot of brands are doing those 2s and none of the big ones. But personally, I could never commit, even if I'm a big fan of Rocky Road, and I've seen brands attempt Rocky Road, and I know they're not going to be able to nail like the Rocky Road I know. But I mean, I wouldn't commit to it more than 2 pounds of that. It's just it's a risk, man. We spending
it's even like the chocolate flavorings. Chocolate flavors. Now we do a lot of export. That's been a big area of growth for the brand. But if you're just going to call it chocolate, Like, what is chocolate
Oh
to
no, you gotta mix
people from
these
different
days.
places?
These days you gotta mix it up. I think with that rise in fruity cereals and all these like red velvet and like you said, chai. You got to mix it up. I think even though you can't make chocolate as funky and as exotic as those others, you got to at least make it sound like it. I remember I had a brand said, "Oh, we got a new flavor for our protein powder. It's called double chocolate ice cream." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I called it a chocolate flavor. And when we wrote about it, and they said, no, you've got it confused. It's double chocolate ice cream. And I was like, yeah, but it's just chocolate, right? And he's like, no, it's actually double chocolate ice cream. I'm like, look, man, you could give me a piece of chocolate and double chocolate ice cream that's not protein powder, and I probably couldn't tell you if one's actually double chocolate or not. It's. But my
Yeah,
point was is that he really, really wanted to enforce that name, even though I
it's
know, and
expectations, though, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
it is,
expectations.
it
Because, like,
is.
in the UK, if you say something tastes like chocolate, they're going to think dairy milk from Cadbury's. If they say it
Oh yeah.
to a Kiwi like you're going to say
Oh,
Whittaker's or something like that.
No,
Or,
Cadbury is New Zealand, Australia too.
yeah, cool.
It's
But
the
yeah,
that's
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's no, I know what you mean.
so yeah, we have to be quite descriptive depending on what market we go into sometimes,
I
just
guess
to
makes
get
sense.
expectations there. But yeah, and then so I
But
mean,
you can mix it up. You can do chocolate mousse. You can do chocolate pudding. You throw that ice cream part in there. You can say decadent chocolate. Yeah, I know a lot of
100%.
brands mix it up nowadays. It's never just if I see a chocolate and vanilla, just that's the one word. I always said double
Yeah.
check and the label on the tub because I know that no one names their shit chocolate and vanilla anymore. There's always something else.
Yeah, you got to get the marketing guys on that. Yeah. But no, I mean, hopefully, I'm hoping that 2020 was the worst of all this COVID gym shut in, because it's been an absolute pain for the UK brands and the UK industry for supplements. So 2021, we're planning as if it's going to get better. So I've got plans that are coming up. So yeah, it's just we need these gyms opening big time, and then people can start getting back on what they love. I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm making plans. Oh, sorry, it stopped being plans mid last year. I'm now making dreams, for 2021. So fingers extra crossed, but not super high hopes. But despite everything that went on in 2020, I mean, I cannot go without bringing up Stim Junkie, which you guys brought out in 2020, which is it's a high stim, intense pre-workout that focuses really heavily on energy and focus. And while it's not something the industry hasn't seen before in terms of like a high stim pre or a pre-workout that focuses on that side of things, I thought this was pretty big, and it's hard to sort of tell someone it's like this is a big deal when they've seen something before. But I'm like, this you don't understand. This is CNP. This is like Muscle Tech or Optimum coming out with a gray exotic stim pre-workout. This doesn't happen. And I thought this was a very impressive move from your part, not to just call it Stim Junkie and give it that really outreaching name, but follow through on it. You didn't put I've seen some big brands put together stuff like that, like Intense or Hardcore Edition or whatever, but very few follow through and put together that, that not that I guess borderline, but that gray stim blend. And you guys went all in. You had the high caffeine, you had the juniper berry, the DMHA. It was you even had Kana in there, which these aren't things that you typically see a big brand do. But I was, like I said, I was just impressed that because I was sitting there and I had talked to someone about this, and they were saying, "Oh man, I'm really excited for CMP Stim Junkie," and I'm like, "Yeah, but is it gonna be like is it like
it's a risk calling it that, isn't it? If you call a product Stim Junkie, it has to live up to it in some way, shape, or form. Otherwise, you're going to get absolutely slated.
I mean, that's the thing though, because
negative.
big brands have done it before. If a smaller brand does it, you're like, okay, they're just trying to get attention. But when big brands do it, I can tell you right now, I've been around for a while and I've never seen a brand go as bold as that and actually follow through on it. In fact, I don't think anyone would have expected you to I guess go as far
Yeah, I
gray
mean,
and borderline as you
it's
did.
it's something that obviously although from the outside we look like a big company because we've been around a long time and we've got our own factory and whatnot. We're basically a team of 1, 2, like 10 here. It's not a big company like the likes of Glambia and Muscle Tech and whatnot. We're a really small team. So keeping up with people's expectations sometimes is actually quite hard because it's like, shit, we've got a lot of work to do and there ain't many of us here to do it.
Oh, see, I feel like
but
it's tricky though, because you've been around for so long and you're so established. I think it wouldn't matter if you've got 1 or 50 people behind you because you've got that survival history. It's kind of like Animal and Universal. They're not like a giant. I mean, they're a big company, but they're not a giant team. But
yeah,
they've been around for so long, and yeah, it's. I think you guys are up there. I would say yours probably up there in the eyes or in the minds of like UK European fans as much as Optimum Muscle Tech would be. I guess if you're looking at the industry overall, probably not, but I think it's you have that strength in the name where it's like, oh, that's
yeah, it's
CNP.
nice to have that reputation, 100%.
Yeah.
Nice, it's
You're
nice to have.
established.
Yeah, I mean, Stim Junkie was just one of them projects that we thought we've got to do something here to get the brand up to being seen as something cool rather than everyone's kind of
That's
dirty little secret.
that's exactly what I actually thought was the goal. I was like, this has got to be it. Like with all these high stim things coming up, this has to be them being like the
Waking up.
EAA, the various like the Easter flavor, the Halloween flavor, all these things you've done seemed like just modern things that up-to-date brands are doing, but this was like
Yeah,
again,
well, Stim Junkie actually we made one batch and we thought we're doing this as a one hit wonder. We're going to make it once it's gone, it's gone. So we made the batch and it sold out before we'd finished production. So Rachel, our girl who looks after all of our sales, she's an absolute world beater. Came back saying, "All right, I've sold this many." I was like, "Well, that's only as much as we're making." So we quickly went out and managed to bring more ingredients across and got the batch kind of doubled up in size, which then all of that sold. So we're like, Christ, we can't keep this product in, but at the same time, it is just a limited edition thing. So yeah, we brought out like a miniature half size to kind of satisfy a need for it as well, and that all flew out. It was probably the most successful product launch we've ever done, which was kind of nice to see that we brought something out that really resonated with people and got people wanting to kind of buy into the brand. And we've seen that a lot of the customers that bought into Stim Junkie have now discovered that actually CNP do a decent whey protein, or they do decent protein bar, and it's kind of helped
that's the goal. Yeah,
bring people in, which is good. And then you touched on as well, obviously, some of the more quirky flavors. So Easter egg. We've got a meeting today actually with the team because we're just planning when that's going to go into production again.
That's
this
Easter is as scary as it is. It's only like what 7-8 weeks away.
Yeah, so we're just booking in the production room in the factory probably for the first week of March to bring that out again. I think we're just planning on how we're going to put it out to the market and get some new infographics done for it to make it fresh for 2021. So yeah, I mean, the guys have been down at Chris Bailey, UK photographer. He's an old friend of mine, so we do a lot of work with him. Obviously, you'll see him at pretty much any bodybuilding show, like the Olympia. He's there, and he was at Dubai with us last December.
Yeah, it's a long
so we're
time
doing a lot
ago
of
now.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, he's doing a lot of work closely with us to get our imagery on point, and obviously it's good having friends like that in the industry. So yeah, I mean, 2021, it's more of the same, but more of the good stuff. So yeah, the cool flavors, updating the current products to live up to the flavors that we're bringing out. So like our Recover product, which you don't see too many Recover products out on the market anymore because
No.
they were kind of a bit of a has-been, but it's still one of our top selling lines. So we've just brought the flavouring up to a 2021 flavouring profile, rather than the old flavouring profile that was on it. And yeah, we're hoping that that's going to be a big year for that product as we kind of bring that legacy product back up to kind of seen by everyone, rather than just the kind of historical customers.
With the Stim Junkie, did you find or did you think that it might have been obviously I think the high stim angle and that intense approach that you took played a big part in the success of it. But do you think the limited side also helped out? Because I know that obviously when you tell someone, hey, look, we've only got 5 tubs, they're going to move a shitload quicker than if you tell them you got 5,000. So do you think there was also helped out?
It's a funny one because a lot of people do that. A lot of people say, "Oh, limited edition," when they're not truly a limited edition.
Yeah.
And we got so a lot of the kind of distributors and wholesalers, they bought a few of them, kind of think, "Oh yeah, we'll try it out," and then they realised that loads of people are talking about it, and then they came back saying, "Oh, we'll put another order in." We're like, "Well, you realise we've only got this stock, and that will only be it." And they were like, yeah, no, we'll put a little order in. And then they came back a week later saying, we need lots of this sending in. I was like, well, you better hurry up because like there's even less left now. And I think they started to take it seriously that when we say it's a limited edition, it actually is a limited edition. We stay true to that. So,
well, typically when
Stim
brands
Junkie's all gone.
say that it's limited edition and then it does well, it's usually not limited edition anymore. So I think it's very rare that you see that.
We're basically planning to bring out another pre-workout for 2021, following off the back of Stim Junkie. Obviously, like you've mentioned, there is a few ingredients which are grey in that. There's nothing obviously banned in there, but there's stuff that's been kept an eye on, shall we say.
It's that borderline grey area.
Yeah, and so we're going to be bringing out more of an all-in-one pre-workout, which encompasses a bit of Stim Junkie, a bit of expansion, and a bit of a nootropic element, and bringing them all together as kind of that Formula One pre-workout that still hits hard, but has a little bit extra in there with regards to your nootropic elements and your pump elements, hoping that it attracts and appeals to people who want a bit of everything in a pre-workout for once, because it's something we stepped away from. As you mentioned with the Tri Series, we really split out the Stim, pump and nootropic elements, and it worked well to a point, but most brands out there do have that kind of flagship pre-workout where it's a be-all to everything. Formula.
It is much more common now for brands. Like a few years ago, it was very rare to have a brand that if they had 2 pre-workouts, it was usually Stim and Stim free. Now I think it's just as common for brands to have that, like you said, that all-in-one fully dosed product, like with the 3.2 beta-alanine, the 6 citrulline, and so on. And then you get that separate one that's high stim, kind of like a Stim Junkie, and then I guess a complete junkie kind of thing. Like that has the all-in-one.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I quite like that name. We're currently trying to think up a cool name for it, so I'll add that to the list. Although I don't know how our customers would feel about being called a complete junkie. I don't know. But no, that's one thing that we're looking at for 2021. Obviously, we launched our protein bars back end of last year, and I didn't have too much expectation on them because you're entering an arena with the likes of Grenade and PhD Smart Bar and
man, it's that's not
whatever else.
It's I know brands when they do it in the US, I'm sort of like, okay, here we go. Like it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be a bakery bun bar, or it's gonna be like a nut butter bar. But in the UK and Europe, I've always liked it when new brands come along because it's usually not the same as others out there, but you also have such immense competition. Like Grenade is just a powerhouse. PhD is no slouch with their great bar. Then you have even Warrior Crunch, similar but another great bar. Like it's such a small country or region, but you've got some crazy competition out there. Let alone,
Yeah,
and
we try
it's
to be a bit
very
different with
difficult
it.
to stand out. Yeah.
Yeah, we try to be a little bit different and kind of aim more to, not towards the bit different to our proteins, really. Our proteins are very much, we want to hit high protein, want them to be high quality, all that. And not that these bars are not high quality, but we've gone down the road of slightly lower protein and really focus on the taste and texture, because ultimately people who buy protein bars, you don't really buy them for your nutrition. Let's be honest, you buy them
Yeah.
because you want something that tastes good while you're on the go, or just in your glove compartment in your car or whatever. So we thought we could just bang as much protein as we could, but then you're going to end up with a solid rock of protein with a chocolate coating on it, and that's just going to be another mediocre protein bar. So we've got a protein blend in it of milk proteins, collagen, and so collagen hydrolysate and pea protein isolate. Obviously, the pea protein feels like a weird addition, but under high temperatures, the texture of pea protein when bars are getting manufactured works a lot better, and you still get a high protein yield from it. So that's allowed us to get this texture absolutely nailed on the two bar flavors that we've got so far. So one of them's chocolate variant, so chocolate brownie, and then the other one's a very English dessert flavor, jam roly poly.
I do like the UK English brands that do those things, and I always feel I need to remind people. You got your roly polies, your banoffee, which is another traditional. I'm trying to Bakewell, Jerry Bakewell's another big one that I've seen. I remember for a while I was just like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's just like a cherry whatever, but because I discovered a lot of those flavors when it's in the UK, and I remember kind of learning that this shit isn't available. I also like it.
Exactly.
In Europe,
where you were living in the UK is actually not far from Bakewell itself as well. Probably about 45 minutes from Bakewell where you were. So,
well, there you go. I didn't actually know that was a place. I just thought I just thought it was a name. Oh wow, it's similar to like in Italy. I follow a lot of Italian brand, German brands, and they do similar. And so many times I've had to look up, in Brazil as well, I've had to look up what exactly they're talking about. And it always, it's these treats or desserts or baked goods that are local to them, traditional to them, that probably seem like chocolate and vanilla to you and me, but they
very specific to them.
Somehow twist them. Like the one that I just saw from the Japanese brand called Be Legend, and they do it more than anyone, obviously for Japan, and they did corn soup, protein powder, and it sounds like such a weird thing, but I was reading up on it, and they said that like miso soups and hot soups and stuff like that are very popular in Japan, and so and a lot of them aren't necessarily Japanese, but they're popular in Japan, and this sweet corn soup is one of them. And so the whole idea wasn't that it was I was reading their marketing pitch, and it wasn't that it was like you would drink a protein shake that's corn flavored. It was for people who don't want protein powder in the morning and would rather a hot soup. They would put this and heat it up like you would a soup, and that's how you'd spoon it, and that's how you would have your protein in the morning. And I just thought it was the weirdest thing, but these guys are very popular, and these things sell like crazy. So I was like, man, this some crazy concepts out there, and this was just one of those things. I imagine to you and me it's weird as hell, but to them it's no different from, I guess, the overnight oats that bodybuilders do and whatnot. It just
exactly. It's just a more savory option, isn't it? Really.
But again, corn soup. I mean, just
It doesn't. You wouldn't pick that on a drop down menu on an e-commerce website, would you? If that was a flavor option,
It's just yeah, they do green tea. They did a hibiscus flower protein powder. It was for like a time of year. They do crazy flavors and they sell like insane. It blows my mind, and it just kind of gives you a reality check. Like chocolate and vanilla are really just normal for, I guess, a fraction of the world, maybe a lot of the world, but there's still plenty of countries that are just like, nah, give me something, give me something else.
Well, we find that, to be honest, because a lot of our export business, obviously we're in countries all over the world now. We're in India, we're in Australia, Pakistan, UAE, China. We've managed to get CNP kind of out there, which is good. But again, having our own factory, if there's a partner of ours in a specific country that a specific flavor's really good for, we can make our whey protein a specific flavor for that region, and we've done it previously for India. I mean, it wasn't too varied, but it was a specific type of chocolate flavor that they wanted, so we did that. Obviously, salted caramel does very, very well up in the Nordic regions. So our Icelandic partner, that's what prompted us to do the salted caramel flavor of our protein. And yeah, it's working with these export partners that we have that's really kind of helped the brand develop as well.
I've said that to a lot of supplement companies that they're kind of asking how best to approach international. I said pretty much exactly what you just said, because so many companies, when I'd be at FIBO and I would see some US brands that I'm familiar with, and they'd come over and they'd say, hey, this is our formula. It's one of the best pre-workouts. And they'd always say to me, people aren't like picking us up. People aren't interested. And I'm like, dude, it's a different ball game out here, man. People still selling amino tablets, right? People still selling like shit as arginine standalone capsules. It's like things that you don't see anymore in the US. This is still very, very popular in the UK and Europe. It's like a different country, and vice versa. I remember talking to a brand out in Poland, and they said they kill it in Poland and Eastern Europe, and they were curious as to how they would approach the US market. And I just said, if you appeal to one country very, very well, there's a good chance you're not going to appeal to every other country very, very well. You have to give them something. You have to change things, like you said, the different chocolate for India. But that's a hard thing to do. You guys seem set up very well for that very thing. Not a lot of companies are sort of like, hey, my protein's the best, my pre-workout's the best, deal with it. You know, if you buy so much, we might do a flavor.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you're right, we are set up to move quite quickly and kind of help our partners by creating them something that they know they can move well in their country and what their customers want. Because having our own factory and our own lab, it allows for that, which is it's really good. But it just obviously, as soon as you open that up as an option, you have a lot of work coming in.
I was going to say, if you're willing to do that for a new partner, exactly. There's a lot of countries out there.
Yeah, but we're always looking to get in with more. We're talking to
I imagine that
you'd be able
to tweak the formulas as well, just as easy, because obviously a lot of those countries have different rules and things that they can and cannot use, and
I mean,
labels as well are a hard one.
Yeah, so I mean, our Pakistan customer partner, we're just redoing all the labels for those at the minute, with specific language on there. And we've got a partner in Switzerland where we're actually bringing out a tweaked formula of our pre-workout and EAA products to fit in with their requirements in a legislation side of things. And that's the sort of thing that we do as a brand, because we want to be not this juggernaut that doesn't move for anyone. We want to be someone that you can come to as a brand and say, can you help me work to this or to that? And I want to bring CNP into my country, but here's some stipulations that we need to work to. We've got a team here that are bloody good. I know I'm biased because I hired most of them, but a lot of them have really stepped up in the last year and are doing a really good job here. So I'm very proud of them. But and I think it shows with the customers that we work with. I don't think anyone really works with us and thinks, oh, they've not gone above and beyond to help make something happen here. So
well, I can tell you right now,
nice.
if you're willing to do a flavor, like, without 2 years of established business, or even tweak a label or even change a formula, you're probably in one of the 5 brands that I know that would do that early for a partner. Like, I still know brands that ship the regular original versions and just and tell them to, and then I'll look it up in that country, and they'll have a tweaked label that's got like a crossed out or a whited out, and I'm just like, and it's a rarity, and like I said, you're in a unique situation, and a very good situation to be able to do that, because that's something distributors and brands can only dream of, to be able to do that. I'm sure most of them
something
would
that
be
we've
willing.
worked on quite a lot is a lot of brands find these export partners, they find distributors, wholesalers, whoever, and they think the sale ends as soon as you sell to that business partner.
Yes,
and then but it doesn't. The sale only ends once they've sold it to the end consumer. So all of our business to business accounts and partners, we really work to support them to sell the brand to their customers, because ultimately we won't get another order from wholesaler X if they still have stock on the shelf. So we want to help them sell their products in the same way export. We want to help them sell the CNP product to their customers, because that's how that kind of momentum gets built.
Yeah.
And it's something that was neglected in the kind of dark middle ages of CNP, I would say. But that's kind of been the biggest focus of 2020, is getting people to notice the brand again and helping our trade partners get product into the hands of consumers. And it's starting to work and starting to get some good feelings back for the brand that ultimately was a bit of an old man in the industry, really. So I'm pleased with how it's going. Just wish COVID had do one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't used that phrase, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've done a great. I say you've done a great job, because again, I knew of CNP. I'd seen it over the decade, it seems, but I hadn't really. I guess it never really did anything to kind of pop to me, and then it wasn't until the Tri Series and then the other flavors and the EAA and then the protein. But it was the Stim Junkie to me that really brought CNP. I guess made you serious again. It's not an easy thing to do, and I think a lot of people just like I said, it's difficult to instill how important it was, or how impressive it was for you to do that. I guess put yourselves out there and just say that we still do hardcore shit. We still, and hearing all the background stuff as well. I definitely think the brand, you've done a good job at bringing it up to, I guess, where it needs to be in today's age, with new brands coming out every damn week, new products coming out every damn day. It's and I think you've put yourselves in a good position, which again is not an easy task. Even giants like Optimum, Muscle Tech very rarely BSN keep up consistently, and I guess bring that modern twist.
Yeah, I mean, 2021 is all about following up on that, really. I mean, Stim Junkie is always going to be a tough one to follow. I'd be happy with following it up with something that's 70% as good, because it was just an unbelievable response that we had. So yeah, we're hopeful that this year, cleaning up the range a bit, getting that tone of voice really ingrained into the market, and the new products that are coming out are hopefully gonna take us up another level, which would be good. Obviously, I'm from a product development background myself, so it is all about the products as far as I'm concerned. When it comes to the marketing side, I'll let the marketing guys do their creative elements. I'm more at home in the lab. But yeah, we're hopeful that the 2021, once everything opens up again, that we'll be there or thereabouts to push on.
Well, yeah, I'm excited to see a Complete Junkie. If that's what it ends up being named, I'm looking forward to the the Complete Junkie.
If it is, we'll credit you. We'll get something on there.
I mean, I like the sound of it, but when you said it back to me, I was like, yeah, I don't think an all-in-one performance enhancing pre-workout is gonna go down well if it's called Complete Junkie.
Yeah. There's the word junkie can be turned into a bad or a
Stim
a good
Junkie is
or a
good.
bad.
Stim Junkie is good because it's a nickname and it's established. Complete Junkie might be, especially if you don't know the original. But well, I thank you for coming on. It was great catching up and chatting with you, and looking forward to everything you guys have in store for this year.
Yeah, really appreciate it, Shane.